Beadwork was a survival art form that began when the Haudenosaunee were impoverished and struggling with devastating cultural loss. Each was the product of long work and each was imbued with sacred values.
I'm working on a beaver pendant for my grandson, and he needs a necklace for his regalia. So I'm beading him a necklace. This will probably take me 2 days to do this. But I try to teach them, how to do these things too, so they know how when growing up. But I just show them the simple things right now, and as they get older, then I'll teach them more sophisticated stuff that's harder to do. I just picked it up on my own, and as long as I can watch somebody do something, then I can do my own version of it the way I see it. But I just learned myself, so I want to make sure that I pass it on to the grandchildren. I'm working on dolls at home right now. I have 10 no-face dolls that I'm dressing right now. I'm working on the dress part. I've did all the bodies, all the skirts and leggings, and now I'm making the dress. I never thought of the time period of doing something, because I just like doing it. I do the ribbon shirts and the dresses, but only for family. This is a rope stitch on here, is a rope stitch. And all this is like raised beadwork. This is all raised beadwork.
Often beadwork was carried on by women of different generations who talked as they worked of their communities and its history. In such a setting, these beaded creations took a deep personal meaning.
But it's very relaxing to me. I mean, you can tell in my house when I do crafts, because my one room is just a mess. But I have everything all over, different areas where I'm working on something. And I'll leave it and then go work on something else. I have the pell in here. And then I have this cloth here is real, you can sew right through it. So it's easy to sew. I put my pattern on it, then I just follow over. I'll just put the beads on and then I'll lay it inside and then just keep right on building it up as it builds up on the inside. This is on the scissors case. Fit your scissors in there. This is a wallet. This is for a picture. And this is just a like a pin cushion, or you can hang it. That's made with sawdust inside. So I try to teach my grandchildren, the different arts to do. That way they have that knowledge, and then it gets passed on to the family.
Storytelling is an important component of the Oneida's culture. These oral traditions and legends have been passed from generation to generation. A majority of these stories took place in the familiar setting of the woods, featuring woodland creatures. More than entertainment, these stories teach children the value of their culture, honesty, and kindness. The legends presented here are only one version of these ageless stories.
This is the legend of how Bear lost his tail. A long time ago, Ogual had a long, bushy tail. Ogual was always bragging about his tail. Ogual loved to show off his tail to all of the other animals, including Scuffnux. Scuffnux loved to play tricks, and one day he thought he would play a trick on Ogual. So, Scuffnux cut a hole in the ice and stacked many fish next to it. It was wintertime. The lake had frozen. Scuffnux knew the path Ogual took by the lake. He persuaded Ogual to come over and see all the fish. Both Ogual and Scuffnux loved to eat fish. Scuffnux didn't want Ogual to fish in the spot, and he didn't want Ogual to eat all of the fish. Ogual asked Scuffnux to teach him to catch lots of fish. Ogual promised to do everything Scuffnux told him to do. So, Scuffnux agreed. Scuffnux took Ogual to another spot on the lake and cut a hole in the ice. So, Scuffnux told Oguali to put his long tail into the water and to sit very still. Ogual did as he was told. He didn't move. He didn't think. Squathnux laughed and laughed as he watched Ogual sit for hours. And finally, Squathnux got tired and went home. The next morning, Squathnux went back to the lake to check on Ogual. It had snowed during the night. When Squathnux arrived, he saw a mound on the ice covered with snow. The mound was Ogual. He was sleeping. Squathnux laughed again. Quietly, Squathnux snuck up on Ogual and yelled, "Now, Ogual, now! Pull your tail up now!" When he heard Squathnux yell, Ogual woke up. Ogual quickly pulled his tail out of the water. As he pulled and pulled, he heard a loud snap. Ogual turned around to look, thinking he had caught lots of fish. Ogual didn't see any fish, or his tail either. The tail of Ogual had frozen in the water, and it broke off when he tried to pull it out. Ogual groaned. Ogual yelled at Squathnux. Ogual was very angry that Squathnux had tricked him and that he had lost his tail. Ogual thought about how to get even with Squathnux. Squathnux laughed and laughed at Ogual with his short tail. Ogual got more angry. He started to chase Squathnux, but Squathnux was too fast and he ran away. To this day, Ogual has a short tail and he still doesn't like Squathnux. Sometimes one will hear Ogual groaning in the woods. Ogual groans because he remembers how he lost his beautiful bushy tail when Squathnux tricked him. This is a reminder not to be boastful.